Ciao amici e benvenuti nella Peso sulla Luna. Hello friends. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know from my attempt at an Italian intro that this is my series in which I use Cercle de Lune adjacent or antique Italian decks to extract a central message or another layer of message from the previous spread that I do each week. So I do an initial spread, which is either RWS based or Continental Tarot based, or now these days a Thoth based spread. And then I use my Tarot de Marseille to give me either a central message or another layer of message to that spread. And since I have not been using any of my Italian decks for a while, I suddenly got the itch to use an Italian deck. So I pulled out my Sopraffino, which is a beautiful deck, but the copy I'm using right now is out of print. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. So I've got the spread all laid out, but because this is a response spread, it's a spread in response to the earlier video of the week, I highly recommend going to watch that video first and then coming to watch this. So you get the platform from which this response is leaping, yeah? And so I'll put a card up here for you to be able to click on the card and hop on over, watch that video, and then come back here. And you don't have to watch any of these videos in one shot, in one sitting. You can split them up. It's perfectly allowed. There's no YouTube police coming out to say, you've got to watch this video to the end. Watch them in bits. That's perfectly acceptable. And then come back here and watch this one in bits. Because I tend to do longer videos. I'm not the longest one on the platform, but I am on the long side. So, the earlier video for this week was called Overenthusiasm. And we discussed how enthusiasm is different from overenthusiasm, and that there are different ways of understanding the word overenthusiasm as well. Yeah? Now, if we are feeling very enthusiastic and people are pointing at us and saying, you are overenthusiastic, because they're comparing our emotional state to theirs or the emotional states of other people, and they're saying that we are over the top because they're feeling more negative. That's not our problem, that's theirs. That's not the kind of overenthusiasm we're talking about in last week's video and then this video as a response. The overenthusiasm we're talking about here is where our enthusiasm has lost its foundation. Now, if we're enthusiastic, if we're highly enthusiastic, and it's because we have this natural, buoyant feeling of lightness and excitement, and we're moving purely forward, and we have a lot of energy, and we're just openly using and experiencing and manifesting with that energy, we are highly, highly enthusiastic, and that's a wonderful thing. However, sometimes that enthusiasm, we start off with that enthusiasm, but something trips us up. And the support for that enthusiasm gets knocked out from underneath us, but we feel we've got to maintain that enthusiasm, and so we become overenthusiastic. Now, it's overenthusiastic because we don't have the support of the true enthusiasm behind it, and we're trying to, some people say, fake it until you make it in these kinds of circumstances, and that's not really accurate, but we're creating Not manifesting, not experiencing. We're creating enthusiasm because we need to feel enthusiastic in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And that kind of enthusiasm is actually a sign of resistance rather than being open to the powerful flow of intention. And that kind of over-enthusiasm can very quickly lead to things like burnout, to cruelty, to brutality, to beating other people up in emotional, verbal, mental, physical even, or spiritual ways. So we want to avoid that in the coming week. And this week's larger spread seemed to give us a lot of really powerful information about that. And so from that video, from that spread, from that reading of that spread, to be more accurate, I asked the question, what is the central message of this week's 3-card spread? And so we've got a spread already laid out. What I will do now is I will show you those cards, and we will talk about the spread very briefly, and then we'll read the tarot cards, and then I'll briefly show you the oracle card that I pulled as a response to those tarot cards, and then we'll talk about that tarot card and we'll be done. Are you all ready for this journey? Let's set off together. Here are the picture of the spread and the question that I ask every week right now. Friends, what do you think of this set of cards? Yeah, I think the copy that I have of this deck is lovely. It's kind of thin, it's on the smallish side, but it's not too small for my large, clunky hands to be able to use, so it's a wonderful deck. The cardstock is nice, and again, it's out of stock, it's out of print. It was a limited series by Lo Scarabeo, and it's out of print. But, just in case you want this kind of deck, there are other versions available, and I will put links to those versions below. For one, Il Meneghello, I believe, still has it available, so I'll put a link to Il Meneghello. And there's a mass market edition of the deck as well, and so I'll put a link to that down there in the description box. So you have links to that. And then you saw that there's an oracle card down at the bottom, and that's from, what is that from? That is from the Zammer Twins Oracle by Patrick Valenza, and there will be a link in the description box if you want to go get that oracle, and I think it's really nice. It I believe, pairs beautifully with the engraved print, linotype maybe, decks that came out of Italy. So I recommend that for my Italian decks, and I like using the Oracle de Lune for my woodblock print, other Terre de Marseille French style decks. Just saying. Okay, so that was the spread. Now let's focus right on the cards that we got from the tarot. We saw from left to right, we had the King of Coins, the Seven of Coins, the Knight of Wands, and the Hermit. A lot of interesting things. You may be wondering, why are there 4 cards? Well, honestly, I started off with 3, as I usually do. And the King of Coins was looking to the right, which made me think, okay, we're going to read to the right. And so then we got the Seven of Coins, and then we got the Knight of Wands, which actually was pointing, I mean, the horse and the knight themselves are facing in the direction from right to left. So both the King of Coins and the Knight of Wands seem to be physically pointing in the direction of the Seven of Coins. And yet, the head of the knight is turned in the other direction. And so I was wondering, what's it all about, Alfie? Why is okay, if the knight is moving in the direction of the 7 of coins, where is the knight's attention? Is the knight moving in one direction and looking back at where they came from? Or is the knight moving in one direction and considering turning and going in the other direction? That's a question I haven't completely answered yet, and we'll get to that answer in just a little bit. But that's the reason why I've got 4 cards. I was wondering, what is the knight looking at? So I pulled another card, and it was the Hermit. And the Hermit is looking at the knight is looking at the Hermit, so it's like full stop, right? So those are the cards. And we're going to start off with the King of Coins. Beautifully drawn, rendered King of Coins here, I think. I love the colors in this deck. If you're curious about the backs, this is what the backs of the cards look like. Yeah, very nice, typical. You might actually find this on eBay, but other printings of this deck will have different backs, I'm sure. King of Coins, beautifully dressed King of Coins, is the king of abundance and prosperity. Also security and confidence, self-confidence, which were indicated in this week's larger spread, that we want to have confidence in ourselves, right? The King of Coins is the provider and the protector. But not one out of fear, but one out of success. Yeah, I am successful, and therefore I will take care of those around me, right? The king has power based on nature and is in contact with the earth. Now, this is a grounded king. This king is able to manifest from the resources that are around him, her, or them. Remember, we're all kings, whether we are in male bodies, we're in female bodies, we are in intersex bodies, we are in trans bodies, we're in cis bodies, whatever. We are all kings, we're all queens, we're all knights, we're all pages, right? So we're all kings, and our power is based on nature. And we have resources that come from the earth that we can use. And we earn comfortably and with pleasure when we embody our King of Coins-ness. Yeah? We're cautious but optimistic. We have a vision of where we're going and what we're doing that is not wild and crazy, but is cautious and yet very optimistic. We look for new achievements while maintaining the assets that we already have. It's a wonderful way to be in the world, right? It's not quick moving, it's not all that exciting. But it's not entirely fixed either. We're moving forward in a measured way, maintaining what we have and achieving the new. We're confident, we're powerful, we're successful. We earn comfortably. We enjoy earning as well. So this is where we want to start. But this is not the end of the story, right? We are also the Knight of Wands, which is action and adventure. You see this beautifully dressed knight here, right? Fearless. The Knight of Wands engages sexual and creative energy. And the knight knows what those energies are, and they see them for what they are. Yeah? We feel our sexual energy, and we're able to either use it in sex, or we can use it in other creative ways, and we know that energy for what it is, and we know how to direct it and how to use it. We're at one with our energy. Yeah, our instincts are channeled into the direction we're moving in, with creativity, with courage. We've also got the ability to heal, which helps with the king's desire to take care of those around him, her, them, right? So this is another aspect of ourselves that we want to engage together, which is basically what this week's larger spread seemed to be pointing towards, right? Now, the interesting thing is that the Knight of Wands, the head is turn towards the Hermit, which is a card of reflection, detachment, contemplation, perhaps even isolation. Yeah, this is the card of the guide, the person who is able to lead others, but lead others in not the fiery, passionate way of the knight, but rather the reflective, detached way of the hermit. The hermit sheds light upon the past and goes towards an unknown future. A little bit like the king of coins, right? Maintaining the past, the things that they have achieved, that they have accomplished, that they have accumulated, while moving cautiously into the future. That echoes with the hermit just a little bit, right? However, the hermit is humble. Humble. I almost said humble. Is humble. They carefully examine themselves. They are wise and they are teachers. So this, I believe, is the mind frame that the Knight of Wands is moving from, is bringing forward with him, her, them. So the Knight of Wands didn't suddenly appear out of nothing. The Knight of Wands is appearing as an evolution from the Hermit, from that reflective, detached, contemplative, isolated state with the ability to move into the unknown. As the hermit begins to move into the unknown, that passion is ignited and the hermit mutates, evolves into the knight. Where are you, knight? Yeah? The hermit here evolves into the knight, moving into the direction of this, in the same direction as the King of Coins. And they are both moving in the direction of this, which is the Seven of Coins, which is community wealth and investing, being socially conscious, doing socially conscious work, whatever that is, whether it's an actual business or it could be some sort of leadership role, it could be a teacher role, whatever it is, we are socially conscious. We're able to both spiritualize matter and materialize spirit as well. Yeah, it's that the 3 above, 4 below, the material spirit coming down into matter and the square of matter rising into spirit. Our resources are used to support research and information as well. Yeah, we've had the 6 of Swords, the science card from the Thoth Tarot, appear 3 weeks in a row. Do you remember that? In the first 2 weeks, it was in the first position. The significant response to the question, how can we live our lives more intentionally in the coming week? This week, it was in the advice section. So we've got that echoed here as well. We want to support research and information. We want to connect both spirit and matter and see that cycle, that Ouroboros, eternal cycle of matter to spirit, spirit to matter. We want to be socially conscious. We want to invest in our community, whatever that community is, whether it is our family, whether it is our colleagues at work, whether it is our group of friends, our peeps, whether it is our subscribers on our channel, whatever it is, whatever that group is, we want to invest in that group. And be conscious, socially conscious about how we are working in the world and the way that we are manifesting in the world. As we bring together our king and our knight aspects, our passion and our security, our adventure and our pleasure in doing the daily work, our cautious but optimistic vision and our instinct and our sexual energy coming together to create this wonderful experience in the material realm, right? So that's the layer of advice, or that layer of additional information to the benefit of enthusiasm and the caution of becoming negatively overenthusiastic. Now we've got an oracle card here that is going to give us some advice from the Zymer Twins Oracle. Let me show you that card once more. Here's a refresher. This was a very intriguing card to draw in response to the upper spread. The first time I saw it, I was startled, surprised, didn't quite understand what was going on. But now, after reading those 4 cards above with you, I get it more now, yeah? The card was the temple, and it's a drawing of the tabernacle, I believe. But that's not what Patrick Valenza puts in the guidebook. It reminds me of the tabernacle from the Old Testament, the Torah. But here we have an ornate temple built of gold, which stands as a shining beacon for all to gather in prayerful worship. The symbols of humanity's mortal condition, as well as divine promises from heaven, adorn the architecture of the temple. So the divine is the heavenly objects. Above you see the chalice, right? Above you see the winged top of the building. Below the winged top, there's a little chalice, and the chalice is flanked by the sun and the moon. Do you see those? Those are the heavenly aspects, I believe. And then below, we have more mundane, more mortal images, right? We have the 2 faces in the upper window, and below, in the lower windows, we have a skull in one and we have a heart in the other. The heart and the skull are flanking the door. Do you see those? So what is the meaning, according to Patrick Valenza? Well, that we have strong spiritual foundations, which is good because we're coming partially from the space of the hermit, right? This is a holy place or a sacred retreat, a sanctuary, a refuge. So we could be paying respects. Honor may also represent we may be paying respects. We may be receiving or giving honor. It may also represent our physical body or an inner state of peace. And I think it's a little bit of most of that, yeah? We want to remember, I think the advice here is to remember the holy sacredness of our physical forms. And that being remembered, that as this is a temple of the divine, we can allow our inner peace to blossom. We don't make inner peace. We don't create inner peace. That inner peace is there, but we cover it up and we weigh it down with other crap. This is the time to allow that crap to slough off and for that inner peace to reveal itself. We want to understand that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience and honor that spiritual foundation for our lives and the spiritual foundation of everything that we're doing. We want to honor our physicality as spirit in body. And if we can do that, I think we can navigate the enthusiasm. We can navigate joining the Knight of Wands and the King of Coins into the Seven of Coins. The spiritualization of matter. And here we have the spiritualization of matter, right? So this also very strongly echoes that Seven of Coins in the Tarot de Marseille. Or actually, I should say my Italian deck. Yes? Does that make sense to you? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. How would you read these cards? If differently. Let me know. And friends, right now I'll say, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button and for subscribing to this channel. It helps the channel and it helps other people when you do that. And thank you for reaching out and asking for a reading from me. I enjoy doing that too. So my email address is below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, we'll get you a reading, or you can just ask in the comments below. We'll find a platform to connect on. Also, it's time to wish you, as always, love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.